Consider this fourth Sunday of Advent, less than 1 week away from Christmas and the birth of the child that will upturn the world. How are you all holding up? Are you overwhelmed by the worldly evidence of gifty greed and financial one-upsmanship? Are you tired of listening to the rock and roll renditions of traditional Christmas music? Of the chipmunks chirping just one more used-to-be favorite song? Of dreamy renditions of Joy to the World? Have you limped from a store to your vehicle, wounded by inattentive shopping cart drivers, only to realize that you've neglected to purchase the one thing you really needed and have no energy in which to re-engage the store? Have you received Christmas photos from relative strangers, picturing perfect families, wearing perfectly clean, color-coordinated outfits, smiling with clean, buffed teeth, perhaps including a fresh, clean, engagingly cute dog and or cat? When Christmas as a commercial season begins before the Halloween candy is on the pre-Halloween sales tables, when Thanksgiving for the many gifts in our lives is subsumed by Black Friday, spend money you do not have enticements, when everyone and everything is just so full of jolly, and so many people's lives are just so full of despair, do you feel like the walking wounded? Is your world already Christmas upturned? I implore you to back away from everything Christmas and recall that we are still on Advent time. We are still preparing the way of the Lord. Once again, we join Mary and Elizabeth as they accepted belief in the unbelievable. Mary listened to her news from the angel Gabriel, shared her news with Elizabeth, who then affirmed the news with her own story. These two women with their miracle sons, Elizabeth's son John, to carry God's plan forward to Jesus' baptism into ministry, and Mary's son Jesus to carry God's plan to the cross and beyond, shared a brief moment together in this gospel. It was listening, sharing, and affirming, which cemented their belief in the unbelievable. It is the same path of listening, sharing, and affirming which has moved believers through the millennia. I think it's presumptuous of us to consider that these two women, one a teenaged virgin girl and the other an aged barren woman, who were chosen by God to fulfill particularly challenging roles, would be anything but meek and mild. They must have carried their pregnancies surrounded by rumor and suspicion, yet held on to the trust that God was with them. We are not granted the opportunity to know Mary and Elizabeth as women together elsewhere in the Gospels. In this one passage, they are elevated to a glorious height, and the temptation is to let them remain there. My friends, regardless of your gender, I invite you to put on your Mary. Take a moment. Find that innocent, trusting, believing person within you. What does that person look like? Does that person look like an innocent teenaged virgin challenged to believe a message delivered by an angel? Probably not. Your Mary may be a happy, well-adjusted teenager who followed you into an adulthood of joy and bliss. And if so, I bless your good fortune. However, your Mary is most likely a stressed, overwhelmed, fragile teenager who has followed you from a childhood of hope and dreams into an adulthood which includes moments of doubt, disbelief, and unrealized wishes. My friends, regardless of your gender, I invite you to put on your Elizabeth. What does she look like? Does she look like a woman of advanced years, frustrated almost beyond belief with unanswered prayer? Probably not. Your Elizabeth is most likely a person of maturity who has learned how to live into prayer, to cultivate patience, and to wait for the next thing. On this fourth Sunday of Advent, when Christmas Day is approaching with the speed of an out-of-control train, Mary and Elizabeth invite us to just stop. To stop and listen. To block out the chaos of our world. To make a moment of open stillness in order to listen, share, and affirm. Will your Mary hold her unbelievable moments close, keep them secret, hum with the specialness of being the recipient of the gifts? Or will she seek out others with whom to affirm the gift, to share the joy of that good news? Will your Elizabeth joyfully receive and affirm your good news without comparison, judgment, or envy? It is difficult for us to understand the true astonishment felt by Mary and Elizabeth as their lives unfolded in service to God. They experienced the story as yet untold. We know the story. We've listened to the story again and yet again. Advent is a time to take the routine out of the story. Hold this Advent time close. Use this Advent time as a time to listen for a refreshed awareness of things to come, as a time to share our faith alive in the world today, and as a time to affirm our belief in the unbelievable. Amen.